Hey, I'm Tommy BOSHERS. Thanks for watching. If you want to stay connected for more Detroit Muscle, just click the subscribe button.
Today on Detroit Muscle, we take the tired old automatic transmission out of our police car.
And replace it with a fire-breathing 5-speed. And of course, we got to take this thing out for some hot pursuit.
Marc and Tommy bought a cop car. Marc didn't think it was a good purchase.
This thing?
Tommy did, though.
This old girl's got a lot of potential.
Then the boys installed a turbocharger. It does burnouts now. Then they upgraded the suspension. It sits lower and handles much better now. Then they dressed up like cops and bought donuts.
Noted. Thank you.
Have a great day.
They did donuts while eating donuts.
Dude, this thing will do some serious donuts. All right, well, I got that ordered, and it says it's gonna come in a nondescript package with your name on it. You'll know it when you get it.
Cool, you ready to get that tranny out?
Let's do it. Well, we've had a lot of fun with this car, and we just didn't think we wanted to send it off just yet. We've got one big upgrade we still want to do.
Absolutely. The next thing we're going to do is kind of unheard of when it comes to a Crown Vic, but I'm here to tell you it's got fun all over it.
And the fun department is definitely not someplace that this thing is lacking. Even though it's big and heavy and has 4 doors, we have had a ball with this thing. And it seems like every little thing we do doubles the fun factor, and we feel like it's just got one more of those left in it.
So our plan is to rip out that slush box automatic and swap it over to a manual. And I have to say, when you add that third pedal and a shifter in the floor, that's going to change everybody's attitude riding in the car. In the 60s, during the height of the muscle car era, the big three were pumping out more horsepower than automatic transmissions at the time could handle. So they had to back those high output power plants with metal-to-metal 3- and 4-speed gearboxes.
But the gearheads of the day loved it. Push in the clutch pedal, give your fellow motorists a couple of free revs, a big block rumble through the dual exhaust, dump the clutch into a burnout as you launch through the intersection. What's cooler than that? Not to mention, keeping both hands and feet busy while driving is just more fun.
Well, I guess you could say where we're headed isn't really uncharted territory, but for me, well, that's definitely unfamiliar.
Yeah, it's unfamiliar to me too. I mean, I've done automatic to manual swaps, we both have, but not on something like this that didn't come with a manual from the factory. See, normally you just get parts from the junkyard and make it all work, but can't really do that on this one. But thankfully, there are some aftermarket parts available, and we've got a little bit of ingenuity we can sprinkle on there, and hopefully by the end of the day, we can go have some fun with this thing.
Hope we don't need a whole bunch of that sprinkling on it.
Coming up, we slap in our new 5-speed with a little massaging.
Well, we got our Crown Vic all disassembled, and we're pretty much ready to start going back in with the new pieces. Now, what's cool about this conversion is it's not so crazy that it's going to require one-off pieces, because this power plant and this Crown Vic is shared in the Mustang and in the pickup trucks. But it is handy to have somebody to help make your dreams happen, like what we're going with. So we went to American Powertrain for all the hard parts: flywheel, clutch disc, pressure plate, and so on. Well, it's time for us to start putting some in. I'll knock in the new pilot bearing and set our flywheel into place, add some thread locker to the bolts, torque it to spec. Then we can add our clutch disc and pressure plate. Once that's all in, we can add our bolts and cinch them down. That's it.
Well, here's the transmission that's going in our Crown Vic. It's a Tremec TKO 600 that came from American Powertrain. Now, there's several advantages to this thing. First and foremost is going to be the fact that it's a manual compared to that slush box that came out. Another thing is gonna be, this thing's gonna handle all the power we can throw at it with that turbo we added. This thing's kind of on its last leg. At this point, it's the weakest part of the car, so it's just a matter of time before this thing ends up in the scrap yard. So we figured we'd go ahead and do some preventative maintenance and go ahead and yank it out. Some other disadvantages to this automatic. This is a 4-speed. Even though it does have an overdrive, it's gonna have completely different gear ratios than our 5-speed here. First gear in this transmission is gonna be super low, so you're gonna have that performance feel off the line. But then the overdrive, it's a nice and high gear, so when you get out on the highway, you kick it into overdrive and you just cruise, it'll actually even save you some fuel. Another thing is, this thing is an electronic transmission, so it's gonna go into whichever gear the controller tells it to. As with this one, it's gonna go into the exact gear we want at that exact moment. There's one more thing though we need to take into consideration before we start throwing this thing in. Since the Crown Vics were only offered with automatic transmissions like this one here, the floor kind of contours the housing here. If you look at it from the side, it kind of flows downhill. And if you look at our manual, well, it's kind of flat across the top. So that might actually be an issue for us. We need to check it out. Another thing is, we've got a shifter that's going to need to go through the floor. We're going to have to make a hole for that. So we need to see where this lands. We'll go from there. All we need to do is measure from the engine block to where that shifter's going to go and make a mark. All right, 26.5 inches is right there. I've got a hole drilled there where I need to drill with my hole saw, but it's gonna be difficult to do from underneath here because of the contour of the floor. So I'm gonna put the car down, do it from inside. All right, well now we can go ahead and get the bell housing in place and then put the transmission in.
Well, big man, with you doing the hard part, I guess I'd help you with this heavy part.
I appreciate it. Yeah, the thing weighs about 100 pounds, so I don't want to manhandle it. Just a little bit, and we'll have to go up a little more. Come on. Over there. Release bearing went onto the collar. Just need to go. Let me wiggle the engine a little while you move it.
Perfect.
All right, well, let's hurry up and get some bolts in it.
While you finish up here, I'm gonna go get on the drive shaft.
All right, I got it from here.
American Powertrain also sent us the yoke that we need to slide into the tail housing of our transmission. And then I went for a little field trip, if you will, to a friend of mine's all-Ford salvage yard, and after rummaging through a boatload of drive shafts, I come up with a nifty piece of information. If you're ever looking to do a 5-speed swap into a Crown Victoria, all you need for a drive shaft is to find you a 2-wheel drive 94 Ford Ranger long wheelbase with a 3.0, and you have you one at the perfect length. And with that snatch stick, it's time to head out and light up the track.
Well, after making it here to US 43 dragway going these back roads, I can tell you this Crown Vic out on the drag strip is gonna be a blast.
Man, I think you are dead on that one. But, you know, I'm a little hungry, so I'm gonna be in hot pursuit of some nachos a little later on. But what's your plans for right now?
I'm just gonna get in the driver's seat and go make a couple hits if that's all right with you.
Heck yeah, let's see what this thing can do.
Since I don't really know what this thing's gonna do, just to give it a shot, I'm gonna get it about 3,500 RPM and then just get out of the clutch kind of quick. I don't know if it's gonna hook or not. If it hooks, I'll try it again at a higher RPM. If it doesn't hook, I need stickier tires. Well, it spun actually more than I expected it to. I was a little bit out of the groove, I can see, but I still don't think it should have spun that hard. I'm gonna try launching it at a lower RPM. If it's really slow, I feel like it's gonna bog now. If it's slow, I'm gonna do a tire swap. Just no way around it.
Well, he took off on the first one and pretty much blew the tires off of it. And on the second one, he tried something a little different. They're still slipping just a bit. We may end up having to put on a set of slicks.
So I didn't get the ET on the first run, but was that better or worse?
About the same.
Yeah.
In all reality. It looks like you took off a lot harder. Well, less slippage.
Right.
Yeah.
Launch was better. The 1-2 shift was a little worse because I did hit the rev limiter.
Yep.
But then after I got into second and let out the clutch, it spun. So I mean, it needs a tire. I mean, there's just no way around it. I need to get a harder launch and I need it to not spin when I shift.
I understand.
I mean, I can make another hit, but I don't think there's a point in beating on it. Just put some stickies on it. And
yeah.
You want to see if you can do better?
Not necessarily better, but I just want to drive it without slicks on.
Is that the ET968?
Yeah.
I ain't mad at that.
I got you.
Here, you hit it. Can't hurt it. Time for the tire change. We went to Summit Racing for a pair of Hoosier drag radials in 245/45/17 over stock style wheels.
You getting them air pressures dialed in, I'm gonna check the driver's seat.
All right, you're good to go. I'll be at the starting line.
10-4. Well, we done got the tires a little sticky. Now it's time to see if it's just enough.
.944, that's 2/10 quicker. I think we're onto something. How'd you feel about that run?
I think I can do better. I didn't launch it as hard as I could because I was trying to see what it would do. And if it bit, which it did a lot better than the previous ride. So.
Well, that was about 2/10 quicker, so that was a big jump. I think we're on the right track.
All right, we'll see what's up.
Yes, sir. 9-1.
Man, I know this old girl's got that heavy-duty cooling, but I figure we ought to let it cool down for you.
You want to know how quick you went, right?
I bet you, for sure.
All right, so your last best before this was a 941.
All right.
And you're going about 77 through the traps.
Too bad.
Each time you're about 77 miles an hour, so you're not losing power.
Yeah.
Even though it is hot. But that time was a 9100. 9-1 flat at 77.96 miles per hour. And remember we were talking about the 60 foot? You went from like 235 60 foot to a 217 260, even though it kind of like was on the edge of losing traction all the way out to the 60, it was still quicker. So I don't know what you did, but you did it right.
Well, all I can say now is it is your turn and my turn to grab some cheese.
All right.
Good luck, buddy.
I'm gonna let her cool and I'm gonna make some hits.
You'll find me in the stands enjoying myself. Not saying I'm not enjoying myself now, but I really am going to enjoy myself even more. I'll talk to some people. Look, you go ahead and do your thing.
I think he's a little confident that I'm not going to go quicker than 910, and I'm not really confident that I will. But we're going to try. .9.4, that's pretty good.
He's good to me, though. Oh, he's not joking. He's gonna have his work cut out.
Well, 900 at 78, that's got Tommy covered by a full 10th. And I think it's got an 899 in it though. If it'll go 900, it'll go 899. So I think I'm gonna hang out here for a little bit, but y'all go check on Tommy and see what he's up to, see how he thought about that 9-0 run.
Well, after about 47 passes, he finally beat me. I mean, he beat me by like 0.10 of a second, which is all right. But I have to say, I had it a whole lot easier than he did. Besides, my view's a lot better too. This fix's been fun. You never know, we may build us something else like this and come play for a while.
We try not to get pulled over testing out the new xMOD exhaust.
Man, I run out for 1 second. Next thing I know, you've got a Mustang on the lift and the exhaust laying in the floor.
Yeah, I know you needed a honey bun so bad you had to go, so leave me to my devices. I'm gonna have a Mustang on the lift.
Well, what we got going on here, this looks like a pretty elaborate kit.
Yeah, so you know how like when we're doing an install and we got all the parts laid out, and like, man, they didn't include this, or why didn't they do that, you know? Well, Magnaflow's been getting those requests for years, and they decided they're gonna make it all in one premium kit, answer all of those requests, and they've done it with this kit right here, and we're gonna put it in this car.
Now, is this thing only a loud kit?
No, so like that's one of the big requests is for it to be modular. So this has actually 4 different settings, which we'll get into all that later, but the construction is also equally as impressive. This is the xMOD. It comes with carbon fiber tips, V-band connections, things like that.
It ain't gonna drone, is it?
No, actually, that's what those little extra pipes are, those little dead end pipes. Those are where they tuned out the drone, even on the loud settings.
Well, that's pretty cool. I know I really like the flow and the sound of Magnaflow, man. That rumble that it's got, something sweet.
Okay, well, that answers my first question. That was gonna be, I wanted you to pick which mid pipe we were gonna go with, because you have two options. You have something loud, and then you have that Magnaflow tone that you love so much. So that first part's figured out, let's get it.
Cool.
All right, so everything else that comes with the kit is in this portable case here. So if you got active exhaust, you can install these. Actually, your factory actuator bolts right on here to actuate it. If you got long tube headers, it comes with these header adapters. And of course, all the V-band clamps to get everything installed. What I like about this kit the most is this option here. It's got two mid pipes, and you get to choose which one you want to go with. If you want the louder sound, you can do this extreme delete here. It's basically an X. Or if you want that classic Magnaflow sound like Tommy does, well, you go with this mid pipe right here. We're gonna get this one on the car. On my end.
Don't let me hold you up.
Looks nice. Mm-hmm. The last question is gonna be, do you want these block-off plates installed here in this tube? Or do you want to leave them out? If we put them in, well, it's going to force the air through this extra resonator here. But if you leave them out, that air can come straight out, so then your muffler up front will be the only muffler.
We got one muffler. Let's just see what it sounds like.
All right, let's take it out and take it for a rip.
Yes, sir. After we set this thing back on two wheels, we landed at NCM Motorsports Park. Well, the ride up here was definitely enjoyable. The sound this thing was making was wonderful, and it didn't have any drone to it.
Yeah, I noticed too, it wasn't as loud as I expected it to be in competition mode. So the question is, can it be loud?
Oh, absolutely. We got it out here on this big stretch of pavement. We're gonna see what kind of tune this pretty little thing's gonna sing.
All right, ring it out, man.
I can do that. That ain't a problem.
All right, watch this. I'm gonna use his saying. All right, hammer down.
10-4. Oh, yeah. This thing sounds pretty sweet. Magnaflow definitely makes a Mustang sound good. That is an understatement saying that.
That's competition mode.
Was it my driving that made you think that?
Yeah. What happened the first time?
I didn't want to like break it, but I may have to do this again if you'll step back out of the way.
I didn't think he liked Mustangs.
Can't deny that put a smile on anybody's face. See, that last one wasn't as hot. I had to let the car cool down.
Okay, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think?
You want to try round two, like make it louder?
You think it can handle it?
I think you could handle it.
Well, I really want to hear what it sounds like with that X in it, because I know it's going to make that crackle that I love.
Yeah.
You know, the way a Mustang should sound.
I understand. Well, let's get over here to the garage.
Let's do it. Once the exhaust is cool, we just need to loosen a few clamps and slide the muffler out. Now we're ready to install the xMOD Extreme Delete mid-pipe. And now we've got it on the loudest setting, race mode.
Well, we got that loud pipe under it. Are you excited?
Absolutely, this is gonna be the winning combination, you watch.
I bet it's gonna be an award-winning combination.
Good thing we're out here.
I don't know if I should plug my ears or not. Nah, that ain't bad. All right, boss man, don't be bashful.
Here we go.
That's definitely louder.
I love this sound. This is, to me, the way a Mustang should sound right here. A little gravelly, a little bit too loud. It's perfect.
I bet that's just good enough to get you one of them $75 awards for sure.
What? I can't hear you over all this awesomeness.
Yeah, you know, if it sounds that good in a Mustang, imagine what it sounds like in a Dodge.
But to me, honestly, joking aside, this is the way a Mustang should sound to me. Maybe a little bit too loud, a little bit of gravel. I love it.
Yeah, it's got a crisp sound to it.
If you're not like getting off the throttle, hoping you don't get a ticket, you're not doing it right.
I understand. Well, let's see what it sounds like some more.
All right.
Yep.
This is fun. I can see how if you're on the street though, you might need it a little bit quieter.
I don't know if you know it, but listen. You can hear the cop sirens. We might not put them little plugs in the backside.
Yeah, I was thinking it's just slightly too loud for the street, you know?
Well, within the ordinance, you know what I mean?
Right, if you don't want to get that ticket.
Yeah.
And I don't really feel like getting a ticket on the way home.
And that's easy enough to fix.
Yeah, let's do it.
This process is simple. You just unbolt the tip, slide in the plug to cap off the straight pipe, then reinstall. Well, we got the plugs in the exhaust tip, so that means this thing's in street mode. And it's quite a bit quieter than it was just a few moments ago. Didn't take but about 10 minutes to put those plugs in. It's time for us to hit the highway and head south. Hold up, boss. I got it right. Hey, hey, hey! Man, I sure hope he's just hitting the track again. That's a long walk back to Pulaski.